Hello there, this is Mark Malloy with Emerging Revolutionary War, coming to you from the confluence of the Kanawha and Ohio rivers here in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And this was the site of the Battle of Point Pleasant that occurred 250 years ago on October 10th, 1774. This was really the climactic battle of Dunmore's War. There was all sorts of brutal Indian raids that were occurring in 1773 and 1774, and then there were reprisals by Virginia colonists, and it was pretty brutal fighting. They included lots of non-combatants, lots of hand-to-hand combat, and so in the summer of 1774, Lord Dunmore, the royal governor of Virginia, is going to raise militia to march out here into what was then the Virginia wilderness to destroy some of the Shawnee Indian villages to help protect the Virginia settlers that were out here. Now, Dunmore is going to raise, he's going to have two divisions of his army, a northern division and a southern division. And his idea was that both these divisions would move west over the mountains and eventually cross the Ohio River near here into what was then Shawnee territory in modern-day Ohio, where they would force the Indians to stop their raids. Now, the Northern Division is not going to actually be engaged in a major battle, but the Southern Division, which is under the command of Colonel Andrew Lewis, they are actually going to come down this way. They're going to spend marching overland through this area along the Kanawha River Valley, and they're going to get here to this location. Like I said, it's called Point Pleasant. And right at this location, he's going to actually set up his base in October 1774, and he's going to gather all of his army together. The Shawnee, also with some Mingo Indians, are going to be a few miles away. They're under the command of Chief Cornstalk, and they're going to start coming down to attack. And they're going to try, and what Cornstalk's goal is to destroy the Southern Division and then move up and attack the Northern Division and try and destroy both these columns before they can converge together and be an even stronger, more powerful force. Andrew Lewis is going to have about 1,000 men, Virginia militiamen, with him out here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip my camera so you can actually see some of this area here. This is today the Battle Monument that's located up there. And this is kind of the small park right here. And like I said, you can see over here is the Ohio River, and back right behind me is the Kanawha River, and this is where they meet right out here. What Lewis is going to do, he's going to set up his camp here. Cornstalk is going to be further up in that direction. He's going to march down to attack and try and surprise Andrew Lewis and his men. Some hunters were out, and they actually accidentally ran into Cornstalk's warriors. Some of the hunters are able to get back here and warn Lewis. So Lewis is going to raise some of his militiamen, and they're going to march up and meet Cornstalk just outside of his base here. And what's going to happen is there's going to be an all-day long battle where they're going to be fighting with the Indians, firing, shooting back and forth at each other, hand-to-hand combat. It's a long day's battle. Many of Lewis's officers end up getting killed and wounded, and Cornstalk's going to be suffering similar casualties. But ultimately, Cornstalk is going to retreat, and he's going to fall back at the end of the day once he realizes he can't gain an advantage over. He had about a similar number of warriors as Lewis, but isn't able to defeat Lewis's militiamen. So they fall back. Lewis is going to, unfortunately during this battle, his own brother is actually killed. But they do win a victory here at Point Pleasant, driving the Indians back. The next day, the Americans lost about 175 men wounded. There's about 80 of them killed. So they ended up suffering about 25% casualties. The Indians, they're not sure the exact number of casualties, but probably something similar. They weren't able to recover all of the bodies of the Indians, and the Indians carried off many of their dead with them. So we don't know the full numbers, but Cornstalk does fall back. And this victory here that occurred at a high price for the Virginians is going to help solidify this area to be under Virginia's control during the Revolutionary War. Lewis is going to have the dead brought back here to his camp, and they're going to bury some of the officers here at what was then a magazine. And today there's a monument for those soldiers. You can actually see here all the a monument to Colonel Charles Lewis. Like I said, that's Andrew Lewis's brother, and a larger monument to all of those who are laid to rest underneath here. And then in the early 1900s, this large monument was placed here to mark the location of the battle. And there's a nice statue of Andrew Lewis on the side here as well. And further back there, you'll notice there's a small monument. That's actually the grave of Cornstalk. So Cornstalk survived the battle. A few years later, though, he is captured by some Virginians, and he's going to be brought to, by this point, they called this Fort Randolph. And he is going to be murdered. Of course, one of the legends is that he cursed the land after just before he was murdered. So Point Pleasant today is probably more famous today for stories of the Mothman, which the town talks a lot about, and there's been a lot of movies and books written about that. But there is a connection between the Mothman stories and the actual battle that happened here back in 1774. But an often overlooked, interesting piece of colonial history, that all of this was going on while those delegates are meeting in Philadelphia. Like I said, it's kind of an overlooked portion of early American history, but important nonetheless. And many of the survivors and people who lived through the Battle of Point Pleasant are going to play roles in the Revolutionary War in the years to come. But Mark Malloy with Emerging Revolutionary War, and we'll talk to you later.